Good evening and welcome to the Matchday 7 review of the Championship. I'm Kyle as your host. I am back after I took some couple of days off from the last show, but I'm back on this weekend for another edition to catch up and do all the reviews from this across all the games this past weekend, including the results that get between West Brom and Leicester on Friday night, Preston against Bristol City, Coventry against Birmingham, Oxford against Sheffield United, and also Southampton against Middlesbrough, alongside with Stoke at home to Norwich. Joining us as usual have the latest suspects. We have Michael and Annie. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. How are you doing?
We're good, thanks, Michael. You are a bit delayed, so if you come in and out, we'll hopefully get you back, and hopefully you won't be lagging behind as much. Perfect. Hi, so Annie, how you doing? How's the uni life? Well, it's your first day today in accommodation.
Yeah. It is. In the internet hopefully holds up.
Oh, typical uni student accommodation Wi-Fi ain't the best. That's why people go private sometimes, because they get better speed. So,
oh well, I don't think we'll be going there. But yeah, it's been decent first day.
Yeah, but it's 2025. You guys in student accommodation, uni student accommodation should have proper good Wi-Fi, not bloody 5 megabyte that you just run before you came on.
I mean, it's got a little bit better now, but yeah, hopefully holds up. Hopefully we have no issues for this show.
We hope so. Yeah, we've got you back on, Michael.
Yeah, I echo those sentiments, Annie. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, Stefan. Yes, good to have you on watching us tonight as well, too, mate. So yes, we'll talk about. He likes Wrexham, so we'll talk about Wrexham as well later during the show as well. Where do you think we should go? Actually, if that was he, would have started off with Leicester.
I think you should start Southampton Borough, personally.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, it was a 1-1 draw at St Mary's between Southampton and Middlesbrough. Adam Armstrong scored in the 61st minute, while Sene equalised in the 77th, which keeps Middlesbrough unbeaten. And gentlemen, another good game as well, and especially a good draw for Middlesbrough to keep their unbeaten run going.
Go on, Annie, you go for it.
I was going to say, it feels like, from what I'm seeing from Borough fans, it's probably their worst performance of the season, and they've still got a point away, a year one parachute team. Yeah, I guess Southampton haven't started particularly great, but it's a good point, and Southampton should. I don't know. Is the big story here Middlesbrough still sort of continuing their good start, or Southampton really sort of struggling? I don't know. I said, I think a couple of shows ago, well, still he has to get things going quickly. Time is one thing, but they haven't won since opening day, so that's 6 games without a win. They lost pretty brutally at Hull, and look, I think they're a good team. I think there's some good things there. I think they're trying to be sort of flexible in how they play, but he's got to get things moving quickly. Otherwise, it's the Southampton board, the Southampton fans. Southampton as a football club, they won't accept being where they are sort of in 5 games, 10 games time, because time. He's got to get things moving quickly. So yeah, a good point for Borough, but I don't know, alarm bells maybe starting to ring at the Saints, and we'll still.
Yeah, and because for you, Michael, really huge concern as well. Stills, bit of slow start for the Saints season completely, especially they are one of the parachute teams as opposed to be really not fighting the top 2, but they are so struggling at the moment. It was 6 games without a win as well.
Yeah, well, it is concerning, isn't it? Given that, what was it, the opening day of the season, they beat Wrexham and then haven't won since. Now, they're thankful probably that the league hasn't been very consistent. Apart from Borough, nobody's really been overly consistent so far this season. In that, if you look at what the gap from, say, 2nd down to 10th, it's like 3 points, isn't it? So like it's quite and they're 4 points off? Sorry, 5 points off the playoffs.
Michael, sorry, can I just say on your inconsistency point? I think there was a stat that only Ipswich and Charlton have got back-to-back wins in the last few games.
Oh, I thought you were going to say this season so far. I was like, not that inconsistent, surely.
As in, like in this sort of short sample size, which just shows that no one's really going on a massive winning run, and even Borough have gone draw, win, draw, which is point. Yeah, you're right.
No, thankfully Annie responded. I thought it was my internet connection playing up there. No, I was going to. No, to be fair though, I mean, look, from Southampton's point of view, of course, look, it's not the worst draw in the world. It's obviously against one of the two teams that are left to be unbeaten, and my phone keeps pinging off, which is not helpful when I'm going live. But yeah, that's just typical my luck. But anyway, no, that's a good friend of mine. She's just messaging stuff to do with a certain game at St James's Park this evening that I will not mention. But going back to for Southampton's point of view, yeah, look, it's not the worst draw in the world. I think the results that are kind of like damaging for them, really, for me, are losing away at Hull, and that was 3-1. But by the looks of it, 3-1. That their goal was at the very end. They were 3-0 down against Hull, and losing at home to Stoke when Stoke were down to 10 men and they were 1-0 down. They could have easily come back and turned that round. Well, easily, it's not as easy, but you know what I mean. They could have turned that round and then ended up losing. But I just get the impression, look, I'm someone who's always questioned the hype with Will Still, and now that might be total ignorance on my part. I want to put that out there. But so far this season, I have not been too impressed with. I've not been too impressed with what Will Still's doing. But at the same time, they are. Are they still adapting from the way Russell Martin was having them playing, even though he left like 6 months into the Premier League season? So I don't know how much of that you can buy as an excuse or a factor. I don't know. But there's no getting away from the fact, as a year one parachute team, it's Southampton are underperforming. I mean, I know Ipswich to a degree are, but at least Ipswich have got a win yesterday. So yeah, I think Southampton. I'd like to see a bit more from Southampton, but from Middlesbrough's point of view, I think that's an incredibly solid point. All the same, like Andy said, it's a creditable draw away at a year one parachute team who were in the Premier League last year, and a team that will have bigger resources, due to having parachute payments. And remember, they were coming up against one of their ex-players in Finn Azaz. So that was just, and he had a pretty good chance at the start of the second half, I believe. Yeah. So, that was it the end of the first half? No, it was the end of the first half. Sorry, yeah. I keep forgetting either Southampton switched ends or their cameras at a different side of the ground. It's very confusing. But yeah, either way, there's no doubt in my mind. I think if you'd offered Borough fans at the start of the day the gap to second still being 4 points while you get a point away at one of the parachute payment teams, I think they probably would have taken it. And they're one of only two unbeaten teams left in the division. So they're obviously, and I mean, as you've both heard me say before, I think Rob Edwards has proven that he's actually not a bad manager, and I think he's proven it more than ever now. So you've got to credit him. You've got to credit Borough for staying in the game at 1-0 and coming back to get something. So yeah, want to see more from Southampton in summary, but cracking result, but a pretty good result for Borough, especially considering the other results and the points gap to second still being 4 points.
Absolutely. Oh, question. Stefan's asked us, if Middlesbrough win the championship or get promoted, do you think they will stay in the Premier League, but would have to spend big to do that? Because we know Rob Edwards looked at previously when he was at Luton, he didn't spend big because of their stadium. But do you think if they did, would he have more funds to be backed up to do that? Especially because they're not been in the Premier League for so long, they might have a better headroom, like you guys do.
Yeah, I'll let Annie take this, but the quick thing I'll say is yes, he should do. I think. I don't know if you're on mute, Annie, but you've gone silent.
We are silent.
Oops.
Well done.
What I was going to say was, what was I saying? Before I answer the question, Middlesbrough have also had some tough games recently. They played West Brom at home, went away to Preston. There's also another toughie. So this has not been easy soft fixtures for Borough. So they're consistent now over 3 games.
Away Norwich and Millwall as well, even though I know Norwich have lost every home game, but still, it's a funny result.
Exactly. Teams you'd expect to be right sort of in around that conversation, maybe even at a stretch to top 6. So some good fixtures, hard fixtures, and Middlesbrough come out of that unbeaten and doing really well. So yeah, that's one thing. I think you have to sort of spend big. I don't know about, well, Burnley and Leeds so far, I wouldn't say have spent big. I'd say they've spent reasonable amount. I wouldn't say big.
I think they spent maybe £20 million more than us, but we're around the £100 million mark. Both.
Do you define spending big as spending big collectively on the squad or spending big on individual players? So, for example,
collectively in the squad.
Collectively.
That's what because I meant you could sign 10 players for £10 million each, but is that spending big on players, or is that spending? You know what I mean? Like, it's like in the Premier League terms, 10. Well, unless you're our recruitment team, I suppose. Like, it's very hard to find proven qualities. It's near impossible to find proven quality for 10 million. I personally reckon that compared to Luton, Middlesbrough should have a lot bigger resources. They're a bigger club as well by some way, I think. So I think it just depends on one word for me. Depends on recruitment. It depends on the quality of who you bring in. They would probably have to do similar to what we've done, which is find the best quality abroad for the best bargain prices, really, because of how inflated the Premier League is, or use the loan market really well. But yeah, I don't see any reason why not. But I think Borough have certainly got to be looking at least to finishing in the top 6 now. But anything can change. But sorry, I know I interrupted Annie's point, but for me, I think they should have more resources than Rob Edwards should have more resources at Middlesbrough than what he did at Luton for different reasons.
Yeah, no, you absolutely would. Yeah, absolutely would. Let's move on to the other results. And Chris Wilder getting the Sheffield United get their first win of the season after 6 games on a lose streak. They won 1-0 at Oxford. Callum Hare scored in the 65th minute. Michael, I have to say, I know Annie will try to come back shortly.
That's fine.
But give us a summary on that on the game at Oxford yesterday. Somehow, like I said, we were talking before we got onto the show. We were talking about they had so much chances of rebounds that somehow they won the game. That they always win the game when they hit the chances with the rebounds and the woodwork. But they got the win. Can that give a little bit of a confidence boost for the Blaze? To try to kickstart the season just before the international break comes up. Just to get out of the bottom 3.
Of course. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we've said before that, look, whatever my views on Chris Wilder are, I would back him to get Sheffield United well away from the position that they're in. Their squad, as I said, if you can, I don't want to make it too much about finances and a budgetary sort of thing, really. But you can't not, when you look at Oxford, what they've got, and you look at Sheffield United, what they've got, even as a year 2 parachute team, despite how poorly they've started, it's a game for me that Sheffield United, I did think would win. I think that, obviously Oxford, like I said before, Oxford obviously only just narrowly got beaten. Obviously, they're off the back of 3 games unbeaten going into this. So it's obviously no disgrace to lose to Sheffield United. I mean, look, I know they've started poorly, but let's get real. If Sheffield United are competently managed, they're anywhere near relegation trouble for me. So from Sheffield United's point of view, I think given the start they've had, they do deserve credit for the fact they've got the win. Even if, however they've done it, and everyone knows my rants last season about Chris Wilder, and they got quite fortunate with a lot of results. But yesterday doesn't matter. That does not matter, to be fair. That is all about getting the win, as you said, get the confidence up. And obviously it was good for Callum O'Hare to get a goal, because I know his end product has been questioned in the Championship a fair few times. Because I rate Callum O'Hare, I think he's a really good footballer. But obviously if you're going to be a good creative player, you need to add goals and assists, or at least get an assist of an assist, if you know what I mean. Like, at least contribute a bit more in terms of going forwards. So really good for them. And it was good for them to probably get a clean sheet as well, because if you look at how many silly goals they've conceded in so many games this season, even just going back to last week, conceding in the 90th minute, I think that was important. I think the clean sheet was just as important as the win for them. So obviously, and again, I've said it before, I wouldn't rule out Sheffield United surging up the table if they get on a good bit of confidence and get towards the top 6, because that's where they should be for me, or should be aiming for with the squad that they have. But yeah, you've got to start somewhere, and it's a really good win. And actually, I think they've got Southampton at home in midweek, I think.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who they've got after that. But it's a good opportunity. If the way Southampton's playing at the minute, I wouldn't bet against Sheffield United beating them at Bramall Lane, that's for sure, or at least getting something out of it. So, no, really important win for Sheffield United. And for Oxford, no disgrace in this, really, when you look at it. Their last 4 games have been very hard opposition. When you've had, Coventry 2-2, Leicester 2-2, and he might want to cover his ears for the next 10 seconds. Bristol City winning 3-1 away, unfortunately for him. And then obviously, okay, it's done, it's fine. Then obviously Sheffield United. So they've faced 2 of the parachute payment teams. And all right, here's another way: they've faced 4 of last season's top 6 in the last few games. So. No, they haven't. Leicester weren't in here. I'm talking rubbish. 3 of last season's top 6 and a year 1 parachute team. Right, I'll get me words out eventually. So, no disgrace from Oxford. It's just, they've just got to make sure they just keep staying in games, to be honest. But very important for Sheffield United and Chris Wilder.
Yeah, absolutely. Annie, is a bit of alarm bells ringing for Gary Rowett at Oxford with their poor running form at the moment?
I was gonna say, like I said after they beat us last week, that performances have been improving. They've been sort of getting better, more of an attacking threat. But the matter of fact is, they're still in the bottom three, and they've only won one game out of 7. So yeah, okay, you played some difficult opposition. But I think for Oxford, it's about, can they replicate this against teams that are going to be sort of in around them, maybe, and maybe even slightly higher.
Yeah.
Looking at teams that are going to finish in the bottom half and sort of targeting wins against them, targeting points against them, because that's where the majority of the points for Oxford are going to come from. So I wouldn't say too concerning, even though that's a little bit weird considering they've won one game in 7, and they're not, they're not Sheffield United where they're they shouldn't be down there. You don't look at Oxford in 22nd and go, "Oh, that's a massive surprise." With that said, I said that with all due respect, obviously. But yeah, it's I wouldn't say concern, more just can they sort of do it against teams they're probably more expected to beat rather than Sheffield United at home.
Can I just add to that as well? Like, if you look at the next 4 games, they've got. I mean, and I know that no game's easy, obviously, in the Championship because that's how this league works. But if you look at the next 4, they travel to QPR and Watford in the next week. Then they've got Derby at home, and then I think it's Wrexham away. Then Sheffield Wednesday away. Now, none of those games are straightforward bankers by any means, but you've got to be. I think that they're more across the season. They're the games they need to get points in more than Sheffield United, if that makes sense. I know Sheffield United were bottom with 0 points, but again, I'd be astonished if we're in 10 games' time, Sheffield United are anywhere near bottom of the league. I'd be surprised. Put it that way.
Yeah. Hopefully, if they win against Southampton, and that's a good point. I think the next games after that as well in October, I think they go away to home. So forget the 2 wins. We can see.
Is that next weekend for Sheffield United?
Yep.
See, it's an opportunity though. I mean, even if from Sheffield United's point of view, even if they get 4 points from them games, whatever order it comes in, then it builds confidence again, doesn't it? So it just means the more confidence you build, the more they'll start surging up the table, I think.
Yep, definitely, absolutely as well. Right, let's move on to one of the other fixtures this past weekend as well. Oh, way to go! Actually, let's go to Charlton's win against Blackburn and one against
What a
3-0.
result.
What a goal! I have to admit, and it was so cardy as well for the 25-yard drive as well. Really good win for Nathan Jones and the Addicts. I know Blackburn. I know they have had a bit of a shitty week because they were going to win 1-0 against Ipswich last weekend, and then it got postponed because due to the weather and abandoned. And now they were told by the EFL that they have to play a full game, which is a bit shitty because that's a bit of golf for. But I would have said play 80 minutes, 8 minutes with 11 men on the pitch. Be fair. But overall, Blackburn has been a tough week for them, but a good win for Charlton.
Yeah, very good win. I mean, the second goal in particular is a stunner. Absolutely fantastic finish. And I think it's, what I'm impressed about with Charlton, and I've said this a few times, is that I'm impressed by how Charlton will. I've said the Valley is going to be hard. The Valley is not going to be an easy game for visiting teams. Even if you cast your minds back to when Ant came on, I think it was either last week or the week before, and he said that he felt that the hardest game Leicester's had so far this season is Charlton away. And I think now, and I've said that, and especially if you come up through the playoffs as well, obviously if you come up anyway, you're going to have momentum. But if you're coming up through the playoffs, you're especially going to have momentum in the way that Charlton ended up coming up. And obviously, and the good thing for them is they've kept 2 clean sheets in the last 2. They've ended up, winning away at Sheffield United, which I think will prove to be an excellent win later on in the season. And then obviously beating Blackburn 3-0. I believe Blackburn had a penalty appeal at 1-0 down.
Yeah.
So obviously if they get that, it could be completely different, but it's coulda, woulda, shoulda. Charlton ended up going up the other end and ended up getting an emphatic win in the end. And I've said that, again, when we talk about confidence, from Charlton's point of view, they're going to have it in an absolute abundance at the minute. And this is where, to some degree, I rate Nathan Jones for a certain level of club, as in one that's just come up from League One. Not in terms of Charlton as a club the size of Charlton, but more a club that's just come up from League One. I don't think they could have many better managers or head coaches for themselves this season than Nathan Jones. The siege mentality, the warrior mentality, to steal it off another Sunderland YouTuber to describe yesterday, but I'm going to describe it with Charlton. It is a warrior's sort of they'll be warriors across the season, I think, and I think their home form will stand them a good chance of staying up because I think it will be that difficult. They'll obviously lose games at the Valley, but it's not straightforward banker by any means. I think, like, for example, even look a couple of weeks ago when they drew against Millwall, I think it was. Like, would Millwall have got anything had Charlton not gone down to 10 men? There's debate there. So I'm impressed with Charlton so far. I'm really impressed with how they've come up and adapted to the Championship. And as you said earlier, I feel for Blackburn. Like, when you're 1-0 up, look, don't get me wrong, the pitch was horrendous. I'm surprised it ended up going. If you're going to abandon the game, then you leave. Like, if there was half an hour to go or something like that, you go, all right, fair enough. There's still a third of the game, but it's like to get to 10 minutes from the end, and then it means you have to replay the thing all over again. Does that mean Jacob Greaves is not suspended now? I don't know, because
that sounds like he's not going to be suspended. Yeah,
that's what I mean, because that game's technically null and void now. So,
Greaves was suspended for this weekend against Pompey when they played at Ipswich played Pompey, which
that's weird. They make up the rules as they go along, I swear.
They do.
But either way, look. So I feel for Blackburn. But obviously, they've just got to make sure they snap themselves out. No, that's harsh. They've got to make sure they don't let this bog them down too much. Charlton away is not an easy fixture, to be fair,
No.
but they do. But obviously, the sooner they bounce back with a victory on the board, the better. I mean, they've got Swansea at home midweek and then Stoke at home next Saturday. It wouldn't shock me if Blackburn done well in those two fixtures. And although Stoke are right up there, again, it's the Championship. It wouldn't surprise me if I see next Saturday Blackburn 1, Stoke 0 or something daft like that. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. But long way to go, of course.
Absolutely long way to go. Any input you want to put in for this game? Yes, at the Valley.
I was going to say Charlton are 8th at the moment.
7th.
7th, even better. And you could count themselves. They could count themselves a little bit unlucky in some of these games that they've not won. Like, obviously, they went down to 10 against Millwall. What was it? They could have got a point against Leicester. That was a very sort of tight game. So they could have more points, Charlton, which is a testament to Nathan Jones, and that's not just me saying it because Charlton are 8th, and I'm kind of trying to build them up. It's the truth. They could have more.
For them.
Nathan Jones is a very good Championship manager. I think we all can pretty much agree on that. They're a good side. James Bree, who's a right back, is playing. I think he played sort of winger role in this one. He was brilliant. He got a goal and assist. They've got Tyrese Campbell, Rob Apter. If you just look at the Charlton bench, it's really strong, actually. And that's the thing. And that's something I think they've done really well coming up from League One. Obviously, they've not been able to spend as much money as Wrexham or Birmingham. But where they have spent quite a bit, is they've added to the squad depth really well, like some Mari Bell, James Bree. What pick up that is Sonny Carey on a free from Blackpool, one of the standouts in League One last season. Rob Apter from Blackpool. They've done really well. Alafe, Kelman, they've done really well to sort of upgrade the overall profile of that squad and still sort of have that Nathan Jones element feel about it, where it's hardworking, gonna press you, gonna make it uncomfortable, gonna be direct, in your face, not really gonna lose many games in the Valley. So yeah, am I surprised Charlton is 7th? A little bit, but am I surprised Charlton are nowhere near the relegation zone? No, not.
By the way, and as well at home, just to point out, I mean, obviously they beat Stevenage in the cup, but if you're looking at just the league, they've won 2 of their first 4 home games. They've beaten Watford, beaten Blackburn, all were minutes away from beating Millwall, and obviously lost 1-0 to effectively the only parachute team at the minute that's performing competently, dare I say. Actually saying that Ipswich are only a couple of points behind Leicester, aren't they? So fair enough. But you know what I mean? They've lost to Leicester, which Charlton fans would have expected to probably lose. Then you've beaten Watford on the opening day in the 90th minute. You've beaten Blackburn comprehensively in the end. And we're minutes away from beating Millwall. And if it weren't for the red, you might have done. So yeah, I agree with Annie. I think I'm not so... Yeah, you could say, I mean, obviously, look, I mean, Charlton, what is it? Yeah, 6 points above the bottom 3. I think if you offered Charlton fans that before they played Watford, I think they would have been absolutely over the moon with that, especially like outside the playoffs by a single point.
Yep, absolutely as well. Really good win for Charlton. That moves them up to 7th place in the Championship League table. Let's go to the Racecourse Ground. And I know Stefan gave us a question which we'll answer. Oh, what a goal for Beverton Diaz for scoring his first goal for Derby in the 1-1 draw against Wrexham. Lewis O'Brien scored in the 59th minute as well. Like I said, was this was a lack of quality in the final third from Wrexham, but should have done better to keep a clean sheet before Diaz scored that really good scored goal as well. Actually,
well, I think Brahim Diaz is just a cracking footballer at this level, to be honest. And I know I've said this before that I think that's what I think you've got to credit Derby County for being able to get hold of him. Have they got him on loan? Yeah, I thought they would have done. But either way, on loan or permanent, it's a brilliant signing for Derby, and that's the type of quality he's got. He's proven he can regularly do it at the at championship level. Obviously, the narrative would have been ex-Forest midfielder Lewis O'Brien scoring against Derby, which would have been, I'm sure, Forest fans would have appreciated. But yeah, you've got to say, I mean, obviously, look, with Wrexham, and there's one of the chats has just said there about Phil Parkinson. Yeah,
Trafford. Yep, he asked.
do you think Phil Parkinson is under pressure, and does he have what it takes to keep Wrexham in the Championship? Bear in mind, he has taken Wrexham to the National League to EFL in just 4 seasons. He's done brilliant. But put it this way, very quickly on the game. Race course from Derby's point of view. Come back from 1-0 down, get a point, score a great goal. I think it's not that it's a solid point. It's a solid enough point for Derby. But as far as Wrexham are concerned, I mean, look, I've said before that I think Phil Parkinson will get found out at this level. He's done brilliantly, regardless of what money's been spent. You've still got to go out and do the job. He's done brilliantly to get 3 successive promotions in a row, and I think he does deserve praise for that. But at the end of the day, it depends what Wrexham's aim is. For me, for Wrexham, consolidation, like as in upper bottom half, lower top half, maybe. I think that's should be a good enough season for their first year in the Championship, and then maybe next year. Don't get me wrong, if they can aim higher, of course you want to aim higher. You want to aim as high as you can, but if they don't make the playoffs, for example, I don't think that's a catastrophe by any means, by any sense of the imagination. So, and bearing in mind, like some of the players they've signed, like Lewis O'Brien, I really like.
£33 million.
Yeah,
spent.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, you go. Kiefer Moore, I really like. I think Callum Doyle will develop into a really, really good. I mean, he's already an experienced enough centre back, considering how many clubs he's been on loan at. So I think there is promise there. I just think that Wrexham might need to, as harsh as it might sound, if they want to get the Prem, they might have to be a bit harsh on Parkinson. So, from Wrexham's point of view, it's a game they probably would have been targeting realistically a win, but there's no doubt that Derby will be pretty content with the point. So, yeah, I don't know what Andy thinks, but yeah, for me, Wrexham will be disappointed. Derby, it's not a bad result for them.
Yeah.
There was a moment in the game, just quickly on the game before I mentioned Parkinson, where I think Lewis O'Brien probably should have been sent off for a tackle on Ibu Adams, which I think is important to note. So that was before, obviously, he scored the goal. Again, take that what you will. Thankfully, Ibu Adams was okay after the challenge. I think on Parkinson, I think Sean Harvey, the Wrexham CEO, sort of said after speculation before the Norwich game, he kind of called it disgraceful and stuff like that. Strong emotional words regarding Parkinson. Clear backing of him. So I don't think he's going to be going anywhere anytime soon, to be honest. And yeah, Wrexham have spent 33 million, but the Championship is really strong. And I was of the opinion that even with the squad that they had coming up, Wrexham were a little bit weak in quite a few different areas, so they probably needed to spend money to sort of get it up to sort of a competitive Championship squad. They've also gone a little bit beyond that and signed some really quality players. Nathan Broadhead, Lewis O'Brien, Issa Kabori looks really good. He's got 3 assists in 2 games and 2 starts that he has made. I think Wrexham will be fine. I think they'll come sort of good as season goes on, which I think is what they'll be sort of looking at and hoping for, really, under Parkinson.
Yeah, very much so. Absolutely, very much so. We'll leave some of the other playoff teams a little bit later on. Let's look at some teams who have been challenging. I would say Millwall getting probably a good, decent draw at Swansea after the 1-1 draw. Potnick scored in the 12th minute, which was a good back heel of the goal. But I have to give credit for Coburn, Josh Coburn, close range header to equalise as well. Is this a fair draw for both of these teams?
I think it's one that I don't think either team will be too disheartened about. When you look at Swansea, Millwall have been pretty good away from home. Obviously won their previous home game against Watford last Monday, didn't they? So yeah, but Yeah, they've been pretty solid away from home. Are they unbeaten away from home in the league? I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah, I thought they were. Yeah, so it's obviously solid. So it's solid enough for Swansea, I think, and obviously for Millwall, a point away at Swansea, which again, away from home more times than not, a point isn't the end of the world. So, especially if you're like one of a non-parachute championship team, you can sort of go away from home away at Swansea. That won't be any mugs. So I've got to say, I love Vopotnik's goal. I think it's a really good back heel in the back of the net. He's got quality at this level. And now, I'm correct if I'm wrong. Now, the EFL highlights, I'm going to blame this if this is wrong. Is that Josh Coburn's first goal of the season? Because when I heard that, I didn't think that was right. But
yeah, I'm going to check with that one. Might be.
I was going to say, I thought he scored a couple this season, but maybe I'm confusing him with someone else. Either way,
no, that's his first goal. That is his first goal in the season. Yeah.
Thanks, EFL highlights. You weren't wrong. So yeah, no, that's a really good. No, that's good for him because obviously he's is he Millwall's record signing like 5 million?
Yes.
I think they spent on So look, obviously, it's really important for him to get confidence up to get and get a goal add a goal tally to add a goal to his name rather. So and I think coming from 1-0 down again, even though obviously the second half was there, right in front of both teams. I think it's okay enough. I think it just keeps both teams ticking along relatively nicely enough.
Very much so, it does as well. Actually, could go with anything to input for the game at Swansea yesterday.
I was just going to say Swansea have had a few of these sort of frustrating draws at home. Hull, where they conceded really late on. I think Watford they drew at home as well. So particularly at home, Swansea want to win a couple of those games. Tight, games you just want to come out on top. I think Adam Eda's still not sort of getting fully up to speed. Is a little bit of a concern because he was a big money striker signing, wasn't he?
Yeah, spent big on him, didn't he?
Yeah, from Celtic, and I bet Celtic bloody needed him after they drew 0-0 against Hibs yesterday. Which I'm glad that Hearts are now top of the table in Scotland, so it helps me a lot.
That's a sentence I never thought I'd hear. Odds above Celtic and Rangers, although it's not a compliment with Rangers given who's in charge at the minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Millwall scored right before half time, 45 plus something. So it's a good time to score. Both teams look decent, I'd say. I think I quite like the look of both teams. It's just whether or not they can sort of make that step and get into the top six. I think there's a concern for Swansea is probably those tight games at home, which I just mentioned that they've probably got to convert and win. To be fair, they did beat Sheffield United in a tight game at home. It was 1-0, but I think more of that's got to be required for Swans.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. We mentioned Watford just not too long ago. Let's move on to Vickers Road. Watford came down from 1-0 down against Hull to win 2-1. Imran Lazuza and Vizrala Semedos scored the goals for Watford after Ultimate Burnley scored in the 25th minute. There was a lot of boos at Vickers Road for the performance from Watford, but they turned it around in the second half to get the win. And was that huge for them, especially? It has been a bit of a slow start for them.
For Betzalano, that's a massive win, isn't it? I mean,
keeps him in the job for 2 weeks longer.
I thought he might be cooked after the game against Millwall when they lost 1-0. I was like, having a lot of the ball, they're not really doing anything with it. It's sort of pretty decent patterns of play, but where's that end product? Which we might talk about with another team in the not so distant future. But that's a good win. The Hull goal is really nice. Really nicely worked. And Ollie McBurney is just
doing McBurney things, isn't he?
At the championship level, the guy's a goal scorer. He's a poacher in the box. He's going to be in the right place, in the right position. He's going to score tap-ins. He's going to score. He's just going to score. Give him a shot inside the box with a bit of space. Probably the target most times. So yeah, he's a really good striker. No surprise he scored. But yeah, I think Petzolano under a lot of pressure, probably critical life support at half time, and he managed to turn it around, which was impressive. Impressive character from Watford. So yeah, a good win for them, but they need, I think, a little bit more consistency, a little bit more of all right, is it a start of something for Petzolano now? Because I think the performances, the result was good, obviously, against Hull, but performances have got to be better as we sort of build into the season.
just to add as well, Ollie McBurney, I've got to say to credit Hull for signing McBurney, because obviously, McBurney obviously it was a pretty big name for himself a few years ago, and then obviously ended up sort of fallen by the wayside a little bit. And so he's come back and he's joint second. I mean, obviously it's early days, but he's joint second top goal scorer with the likes of, say, Mahete from Bristol City, Vopotnik from Swansea, Philogene from Ipswich, Kiefer Moore from Wrexham, Carlton Morris for Derby. That's not bad company to be in amongst the same amount of goals for. And I think that's a really impressive signing for Hull. I believe it was a free transfer as well. So
yeah, it was.
Yeah,
he left because I think he was on loan at it was at Las Palmas last season.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
That would make sense. But from Hull, when Annie was talking about Watford with consistency, this kind of sums up for me a lot of teams in the Championship that Hull can beat Southampton comprehensively and then lose at Watford a week later. So that's what we keep talking about. That the consistency thing is definitely applicable to Watford, but it's applicable to a lot of Championship teams, I think. And these last two Hull results have kind of demonstrated that, I think.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, Stefan's giving us a question, actually. This is quite interesting.
Go on, then.
All right. If you could manage / own a championship club, which one would you like to manage / own and why? We already know what Annie's going to go for, so we already leave that one.
This is probably more of a question for me and you, to be fair.
Yeah, go on. I'll let you go first, Michael. I'm going to have to think about that one.
Okay, let's think. I need to actually have a look at the table to see. If I had to pick, so what's the question? If you could manage or own a championship club, which one would you manage and want to manage and own? Okay. If I had to pick one, there's a couple of decent options. If I had to really pick one of them, I'd probably go Coventry. I think Coventry's a really. I think Coventry. Again, well, it depends. If you're looking at it financially, you want to pick Leicester, Ipswich, Southampton, or Sheffield United because of parachute payments. But if I'm going to make it tricky. I'll say non-parachute club. I think Coventry do really savvy business now, and I think that I know that Norwich haven't started well, but I think their business is actually quite decent. I think both of them are sort of adopting the. I know both of them are sort of adopting the. A lot of it is down to selling at the right time, as every club, unless you're an elite level club, and even then, Liverpool have had to sell. Like, say for example, many years ago, Felipe Coutinho had to be sold. I think it was at 130 odd million to Barcelona, I believe it was, and then that enabled them to get Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, players.
Very much, yeah.
So I would say probably Coventry. I think Coventry will be a decent one. I would say maybe Norwich an unsung shout, purely because I think their business is really, really good personally.
All right then. Okay, fair enough. Do you know what? There's one club I do like, and actually, it was mentioned. I think it was mentioned in the second tier podcast weeks ago. I would say QPR. They are a good rival club now, especially the players that they do.
Yeah, they're improving.
Yeah, they're improving, and they're good. And they can be. They've also a bit savvy in the transfer market as well, which is they're very good at that. And especially the youth academy, because they now get the new training ground, which has developed them so much. And I think they have been what I've been saying. One of the teams can be under the radar, and I think with what Julian Stefan's doing, I would say QPR because they are a good well-run club now, and I think they have been for quite a while. And a lot of people don't look at them as much as they see the players that they do get in. I thought, wow, they just fly under the radar and just do their business.
Well, exactly. I think for me, the essential thing to answer that question would be, I would want to pick a club that's in decent financial. I mean, obviously, every club in the Championship loses money, but
QPR is in a very decent financial.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. But irrespective of the fact that teams lose money, teams that lose the least amount of money, but also are able to develop assets, sell them, bring them in, and then develop and then sign the next level up, and then develop into even better players, which then in turn gets more and more money. So that's the way you've got to look at it. And obviously the difficulty is balancing that with being competitive at the same time. So yeah, I'd say there is okay. I'll tell you. I'll ask you as a follow up question. Which one would you least like to manage and own, and why in the Championship?
Sheffield Wednesday, no, at the moment.
I was just about to say, apart from Sheffield Wednesday, to make it easy, make it difficult.
Okay. I would say
Sheffield Wednesday the easy option, unfortunately, but yeah.
Yeah, I would say probably Blackburn in a way, because they have a bit. I think the concerns with them, especially with the ownership they have, and like I said, when they spent a lot on the players after they got relegated from the Championship, and then after it just effectively went down to League One. there's been a lot of issues of when they sell. Yes, they sell Sammy Smodic, which is a good deal, fair enough. But historically, they've always been struggling when they spent 10 million, £10 million on Jordan Rhodes, when they should have sold him at a good point at some point, before his career peaked. And I think that's I would say example. I would say Blackburn is the least club I would own actually.
If
I would go personally with Oxford, not because I dislike Oxford in any way. I have a lot of time for Oxford, but go on, Annie. Go on, you finish.
I was going to say, if I'm managing a club, probably Watford.
Sorry, I'm a bit late. Go on, Annie.
I'll come back in and out. Shall I?
Yeah. Maybe a better.
Oh no, you can hear me now.
Yeah, okay,
okay, right, fine. No, sorry, that was completely on my internet. If I was going to manage a club, it'd probably be, if I was not going to manage a club in the Championship, probably be Watford, right?
Because I wonder why.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about ownership, yeah, Blackburn are pretty torridly run at the minute, so it might be them, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to go Oxford because I think Oxford's one of those clubs that aren't able to generate as much income as a lot of other Championship clubs, and it's harder to get them competing at Championship level unless your recruitment is exceptionally brilliant. But some people might relish that challenge. I don't know, but yeah, I would say probably Oxford just purely from financial perspective.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, no, I think Oxford is on that list. Probably Blackburn is the top, but like I said, I think QPR are probably the best overall clubs that I've seen. After all those years of this, the management, they have become a lot more better overall club, which I really would be surprised the way they've done the business in and off the pitch quite well. So I think, but Blackburn, I would not touch with a sword. Stefan, I know you would like to manage and own Wrexham. That is fair enough. We did talk about that actually, because Stefan's one of my good buddies I look after, and we spoke about this for lunch last week, this past week actually, Wednesday. So we're talking about Wrexham and stuff. So I'm not surprised with that one. So yeah,
there's a lot of attraction going around with Wrexham, certainly, and you get Disney Plus. You get Disney Plus following you everywhere, so it's fine.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. Right, let's move on to. Let's go down to the bottom to look at Hillsborough. And actually, it was a one-more job between Sheffield Wednesday and QPR. Like I said, Dominic Afoe's first half had Sheffield Wednesday's first goal of the season, and Nicholas Madison scored in the second half penalty equaliser that stopped Sheffield Wednesday getting back-to-back championship wins as well. I don't know what to say on this one. I thought Rangers improved a little bit more better towards the game, but was again a draw good fair for Sheffield Wednesday, but or should they have won the game to get them out of the bottom three?
Once again, Wednesday, not surprised, they get a point because they score the first goal in the game and they don't concede early on and then crumble under that sort of cloud of pressure. So yeah, I think when Wednesday score first, they're a threat in games. So yeah, it's a good point for Wednesday. I think any point for Wednesday is good, and I think they're still sort of 1 point off the sort of 21st, which I'd say again, the longer that goes on, the longer you sort of think, Sheffield Wednesday might have a chance here. So it's a good point for Wednesday against the QPR side that's been in red hot form, 3 wins in a row, Richard Kone, all of that good stuff. So it's a good point. It's a good point for Wednesday, yeah.
Absolutely. Michael?
Yeah, well, obviously it's their first point at home, isn't it? First point at Hillsborough. So obviously I know they drew against you lot in the Cup, didn't they, against Leeds? But obviously in the league, that's their first point at Hillsborough. So it's any point, like Annie said, I think any point for Sheffield Wednesday is welcome. I think if you're QPR, you're probably more disappointed of the two of them because obviously there's been many teams that have been going there and at least winning, if not winning handsomely. But 1-0 down at half time, you come away with something at the very end. It's not the end of the world. And like I said, like Annie also said, QPR have been on a very good red hot run of form. So at the end of the day, it was just to keep an unbeaten run going. then I think it might not prove to be the worst result for QPR. But for Sheffield Wednesday, any points welcome at this stage, and at least it keeps 21st in their sights with what was it? At least they followed up with the Portsmouth win with getting something. Because if they lost this game, then you go, well, back to square one, really. So if they can get a little mini decent run going, you never know.
You never know, indeed, as well, too. We've got at least 5 games left to go to discuss as well. Let's talk about Friday night's game between West Brom and Leicester. As I wish Ant was here, would have given his say because he's been very frustrated what's been going on. But like I said, Leicester get a late equaliser through a Nat Phillips own goal after West Brom took the lead with Sam Illing Jr. in the 10th minute as well. As I said, how have Leicester get away with the draw? Probably one of the last couple of weeks that there have been. I think there was a game against. I can't remember. They had a late draw. They got a late draw in the end. I'm not going to say it's not Chelsea.
It was Oxford, I think, a few weeks back.
That's it. Yeah, with Oxford. I just somehow, like I said, they couldn't control the pressure, and just the tempo of the game just lacked a really cutting edge. But
I would say I'm going to steal something from Sunderland's campaign for the playoffs. The hashtag till the end. I think that's the sort of motto that I think Leicester might be taking a bit literally at the moment. To credit West Brom,
earlier this season to do that. So.
Well, yeah, I was going to say. I mean, you still got 38 games, whatever it is, to go. I think for Leicester, it's a good point. I'll get it out of the way first of all. I think West Brom had lost their previous 2 going into this, but West Brom at the Hawthorns, when they've got quality, when they're going for the playoffs themselves, I think it was important, especially the way the game was panning out in the end, to get something. Junior's goal was really, really good. Really good individual goal. If you're Leicester, you're furious at the defending that he's able to get waltz through you so easily. But if you're West Brom, it's a really good individual effort. Leicester probably got away with it in the sense that literally minutes before Nat Phillips put the ball in the back of his own net, I believe West Brom take a free kick, which the keeper then spills. Josh Madger somehow contrives to not even hit the target from like 2 yards out. Okay, the keeper's right in front of him, but if you literally have it on target, you at least force a save, you at least make him maybe spill it again or whatever. So West Brom will probably consider themselves thinking that was the turning point, but you've got to credit Leicester for sticking at it, because for a lot of the game, I felt Leicester were having a lot of the possession, but it was the typical West Brom a team winning, low block, very hard, very solid, and very difficult to break down. So in the end, I think Leicester will be relieved to have just got out of there with something. And I think, is it 3 draws in a row? I think Leicester's had.
Yeah.
Where they drew 2-2 at Oxford, but they had 10 men for about half of the game, I believe. Drew 0-0 against Coventry and drew against West Brom. Then, in the circumstances with Oxford and the 2 games since, they're not bad draws. They just need to, so at least they're staying within touch and distance at the moment. I think performance-wise, we maybe want to start seeing a little bit more from them. Because even though their squad, you could argue, is not as good as what it was last time in the Championship, it's still very, very good at this level. So, it's a shame Ant's not on here for it, really. Particularly with a certain team that he has less than fond feelings for that we have to mention at some point. But yes, so I think solid for Leicester, frustrating for West Brom. But yeah, I mean, you are right. Leicester is finding a way to stay in games at the moment.
Very much so. Annie, give me your thoughts on Friday night's game at the Hawthorns.
Well, considering Leicester, I think, are my second closest team now, up the Foxes. Joking, of course. What was I going to say? It's a good point for Leicester, isn't it? Considering it's late on and stoppage time, it's away at West Brom. Hawthorns is not an easy place to go, notoriously. And you could just kind of guess. I think after Madger missed that chance, it's like, Leicester going to score here. it was kind of that sort of typical football feeling you had, and yeah, in the end, a good point for Leicester. Where they
inevitability.
Yeah, didn't particularly play well, but got a dodge with a point, which is not a bad result in the Championship away from home, particularly at a side who, again, I put West Brom in the category of probably going to be pushing the playoffs, if not in the playoffs. So, good point for Leicester.
Yep. Absolutely good point for Leicester. On Friday night, we got at least 4 games left to go. Actually, let's talk about at the Bet Feast at 5 stage between Stoke and Norwich. There was one more draw between both Stoke and Norwich. We know that Jovo's Mackina's first half opener was going to play for Liam Man's Canaries, who remain undefeated on the travels of the season. But the Potters dropped to third, but they did get a draw after sober Thomas scored in the 40th minute in the second half. I have to say, all of before the kickoff, all of Norwich, some of the Norwich boys this season has come away from home, but they had to work really hard to keep the unbeaten run on the travels going, didn't they, Michael? Yesterday,
Yeah, I think it's obviously we know I love Annie's little smirks there when we're talking about Liam Manning's Norwich City, so
yeah.
it is always quite amusing, to be fair, but don't get us wrong. To be fair, the last 2 away games, they got absolutely battered at Coventry, and were able to come out of that with and nearly came out of that with 3 points. But to be fair to them, but I'm just looking here. If you look at total touches inside the opposition box, based on to yesterday, Stoke had nearly 3 times as much as or 2.5 times as much as Norwich did. And obviously Norwich, I think that the thing for Norwich is that they seem to be Liam Manning, I think for me, is being very pragmatic away from home, and I think that that's a good thing. But they're facing a lot of shots at their goal. They're probably getting to the point where their keeper's probably bailing them out on a consistent enough basis. But look, a point at Stoke this season is solid. The problem with Norwich, as we said last week, was they just cannot get points at home. And I think that results like this and Coventry look all right if you beat Wrexham at home. You know what I mean? Like they were 1-0 up. If you were being 1-0 up at half time, if you beat them at home, then these draws all of a sudden look so much better. But yeah, I just don't know I don't really know what to make of Norwich at the minute. They seem to be sort of plodding along through, and he's loving this. They seem to be sort of plodding along through games and are able to nick points away from home. And maybe they're better. Maybe they're doing better because the team's having to come onto them. But
yeah,
I'd be interested to see what happens when they go. But when they go behind in an away game, that's why I'm going to be interested to see how they fare with that. Because then you know what teams are going to do: sit in a low block, right? Come and break we're down. So. Annie's dying to say something, so let's hand it over to him.
Yeah, we'll hand it over. Yeah,
go on, Annie.
Just for clarity, I was not laughing at Liam Manning himself. Just for clarity.
Are you sure about that?
Just for clarity. I was laughing at just the overall sort of. I love Liam Manning, right? But how he's flipped, sort of like his attitude and the way he speaks in the press now at Norwich, especially recently, has just been sort of quite amusing. Obviously not amusing for the Norwich fans because they have to watch that, but it's been quite amusing to sort of witness how he's sort of talking. Another sort of statement in the post match of don't want my players to do that, don't want my players to do this, don't want my players to do that. It's just a bit like you're telling the players to do that, so what are you talking about? Yeah, another. He talked. He also mentioned how whenever they go 1-0 up in a game or whenever they go ahead in a away game, they sort of sit back way too deep. There's also a problem at Bristol City, funnily enough. So I don't know if that's a Norwich players thing or just a Liam Manning thing. I don't know. You tell me.
Just bit of both.
Probably a bit of both. Yeah, you're probably right. Probably right. But yeah, just another pretty dismal performance from Norwich, and they're not really showing any signs of improvement. We talk about patience, and same with Will Still, but with Will Still, at least we're seeing some sort of style of play, some pattern. At Norwich, it's no real sort of identity of what Liam Manning wants from a Liam Manning team. It's sort of away games like Coventry and Stoke, and I understand at the moment they're 2 of the tougher games in the division, and you're probably not going to have 25 shots and create 10 open goal chances. You're probably not going to have that, but you also don't have to go to the other extreme where you defend and defend. Norwich have got some good players They've got Josh Sargent stood up front in the Championship, for crying out loud. You've got to be able to utilise that better. They're probably also lacking a sort of creative spark in the middle. I mean, in previous years, they had, who was it? Oh, Christ. James Maddison, Emi Buendia, Gabriel Sara, Jonathan Rowe, Boris Sainz. Maybe, and Josh Sargent, as much as he's a good player, he's not really a creator. He's more of a goal scorer, which is brilliant in the Championship. You need Josh Sargent. That's fantastic. But who's feeding him those chances? Where's the Emi Buendia? Where's the Sara? Where's the Sainz? Where's the Nunes?
Marcelino Nunes?
Where's the Marcelino Nunes? and sort of looking at it going, I think, and I don't want to talk about the Nunes decision again, but they didn't really effectively replace him in the transfer market. They signed Pella Matson, who's not, and he put a great ball through for Stacey, to be fair, for their goal yesterday, but he's not really a creative sort of outlet. He's not going to get into the final third and sort of make chances happen, make goals, make assists. You need a little bit more, I think, from your midfield. But Liam Manning, he showed last season at Bristol City, even with Knight and Bird in midfield, who, as much as they're good players, they're probably not the most outrageously creative players. Bird's a little bit better than Knight in that scenario, but he had two sort of industrious midfielders in there, and he got them working, got them creating chances. So it's not like there's unknown territory for Manning. He's just got to find a way of using Matson, McLean, whoever it is in midfield, Jacob Wright, and get him sort of working and creating chances, however that is, whether that's funneling balls to Kvistgaard. And that's another problem for Norwich, by the way. They've got no left wingers because I think all their left backs are injured. Schlupp, Crescene, and Mahovo, and Pape Diallo went off. He's now injured. Kvistgaard's now injured. So their left-hand side is completely decimated and doesn't look like it's going to sort of fix itself very soon either, because there are a few month-long injuries. So bit of concern for Norwich. And yeah, pressure's on Liam Manning. Pressure's really on Liam Manning, which I'm a little bit surprised about because he's not normally a slow burner. And I thought Norwich fans would have a little bit more patience. But considering they've had a year of transition under...
I was just about to mention that, yeah.
Year of transition under Janosov Torup, they probably expect the results. But Liam Manning isn't really that sort of coach. He's got that sort of pressure on him now, on his shoulders, which, yeah, I don't know. He's got a couple of really tough games. Big games coming up. He's got West Brom at home. And then obviously
the small matter of the East Anglian derby away at Portman Road.
Yeah, and he might well break another record of might be the first Norwich manager to lose to Ipswich in about 15 years. Who knows? But he's under pressure, Manning, and I don't think that's too sort of far-fetched to say.
Get ITV on next Saturday, 12 o'clock. Next Sunday, 12 o'clock. Ipswich, Norwich, Portman Road. But,
is that on ITV, is it?
Yeah.
I believe it is, yes. I'm pretty sure it is.
On ITV and Sky.
Well, ITV and Sky, yeah, of course. But yeah, I think Annie is right, though. I think that there's obviously a lot of talk around that they've had a year, like Annie said earlier, they've had a literal year of transition under Johannes Torup, and they're at the point now, which I can understand, to be fair, that although they've obviously raked in a bit of money from Marcelino Nunes and Boris Sainz in the summer, and I stand by, they did well to get the money they did for both players, considering both were in the last year of their deals at Norwich. But obviously, selling Nunes to Ipswich has not helped them. And from a PR point of view, it's obviously got the fans' backs up, which I can understand. It's like you're selling a player directly to your fiercest rivals. That's not going to be a good look whatsoever. I mean, thankfully, Andy's never going to have that point because Bristol Rovers will probably never buy a Bristol City player. But the point I'm getting at is, if you're going to do that, then obviously you've got to make sure you get the results to back it up. And like I said, away from home, they've been not too bad. I mean, I think they won away at Portsmouth, they won away at Blackburn, got a point away at Coventry, which was nearly a win, and then ended up getting a point at Stoke. But again, when you look at it, both Coventry and Stoke battered their goal and had multiple more shots at their goal. And obviously, the sake of shots, for the sake of having shots, you can have a shot from 35 yards out and it hits the corner flag rather than the goal. It doesn't mean it's a particularly good effort. But yeah, we need to start seeing something from Liam Manning, as in like at least some slight level of style of players Annie mentioned before. You need to start seeing something that's distinctive for them, and so Yeah, I get the impression they're plodding along at the minute. So, but at home especially, they need to start picking results up because you look at those home fans are growing a bit restless at the moment, and I can understand that. To be fair, when you look at since they've come down from the Premier League, they've had what is it, 1/6 place finish, and they've had 13th and 14th or whatever it is. And at the minute, and obviously it's a minute, it's long early doors, of course, but at the minute it's progressing the same way as probably the two mid-table finishes have been. So, but yeah, tell you what, with the East Anglian derby coming up, especially, that could get very tasty for Manning.
Sorry, Carl. I was just going to say, if Manning loses both these games, is he in? Are we speaking about a casualty here in terms of managerial sacking?
Potentially,
yes.
But that's the thing. How bad does that look on the board, though? If that happens, you know what I mean? That's the
thing. That'd be, I think, a second or a third, maybe no, second appointment that Napper
second appointment. No,
second appointment that Napper's made. Well, no, because hang on. So who was? Because Napper appointed Johannes Hoff-Torup, and he's
second appointment. Yeah. So that'd be second appointment.
And between Jack Wilshere.
Yeah.
Caretaker. But either way, like, I mean, because obviously David Wagner was that was Stuart Webber who I believe appointed him. So I think there's pressure on Liam Manning. But if this doesn't work, then Ben Napper's under significant pressure.
He's already under significant pressure.
Yeah.
I mean,
even more significant pressure then.
Yeah, I mean, they failed to sign. I think a lot of Norwich fans would probably say they're a winger short, and that's probably come to bite him on his backside now. And it's not particularly pleasant for Norwich at the minute. It's quite toxic, especially at Carrow Road, which not good. And so they need a result, particularly midweek.
Yeah. The fans are getting very impatient at the moment, and I could understand why, especially after pretty much what happened the season before when they lost to us in the semi-finals in the playoffs, and then it's just been.
And
what didn't help them was Ipswich going up before last either. I know they came back down, but that wouldn't have helped things either.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just finally, sorry. I think Norwich fans would be a little bit more patient, a little bit more understanding if they were seeing a team that was like trying to play a set brand of football wherever they're playing, home, away from home, and trying to implement that. They're not really seeing that, and what they are seeing, especially away from home these last two games, are quite honestly just football that is quite horrible to watch, and that's not what they appointed Liam Manning for. That's not what Liam Manning sort of promised at Norwich either. So a lot of things have got to change at Norwich.
Yeah, absolutely. So it does. Look, I'm keeping an eye on the scores of the Ryder Cup. It's getting a lot more tense than I thought on the final day, so I'm heavily distracted.
That's fine. I couldn't care less personally about the guy.
No, that's fine.
I'll just keep talking. You just watch that. We'll just hold the phone.
No, I can focus. I'm keeping an eye on the live text. I just want to beat the bloody Yanks. That's all I wanted to do. So
okay. Well, hang on. So what games we got left to discuss? So we got
two less: Coventry, Birmingham, Ipswich, and Portsmouth, and Preston, Bristol City. So we've got 3 left. So
okay, well, hang on. So let's go from one end of East Anglia to the other then.
Yeah, that's I would say. Yeah, go ahead. So Ipswich beat Portsmouth 2-1. Jada Philogene scored along with George Hurst, and then Marlon Park in the 90s was consolation in the 92nd minute of the game. And I have to say, really good goal from Philogene. Curled, opened the scoring as well. I have to say, is it just now starting to hit the form now after the last couple of weeks before they did beat Sheffield United 5-0, and I know that with the controversial stuff at Ewood Park, which we will come to, but are they now slowly creeping up slowly creeping up to challenge now for the playoffs and the promotion spots?
You'd like to hope so. I mean, Kieran McKenna will certainly hope so, especially considering they play Norwich next Sunday. So I'm pretty sure they would be buzzing because if they beat Norwich, is that 3 home wins on the spin? So that'll be really helpful. For Ipswich's case. I mean, obviously George Hurst played against his old club. Had a spell at Portsmouth a few years ago in League One. So that's really impressive. But I mean, look, it's mental when I'm looking at Jayden Philogene, and I'm just thinking, Jesus Christ, this is Annie will definitely probably agree with this. This is what getting promoted for just even 1 year does for you in terms of just even if you go up and come straight back down, the riches you have as a parachute payment club to be able to afford that. I mean, Jayden Philogene, what's that, 4 goals? Well, now, because Blackburn doesn't count, 4 goals in his last 2 home games, certainly. So, I mean, Philogene just, he's a cheat code. He's mint at this level. Obviously, Ipswich going 2-0 up at half time. This is a game they would have targeted realistically being 3 points, and especially considering the Blackburn result didn't count. They obviously, what Ipswich want to do is they want to get themselves into the top 6 before that Blackburn game is played, whenever that is going to be. I don't know if the date's been announced for it yet.
But no, not yet.
No, okay. But whenever that Blackburn game does come, you kind of want that to be almost as insurance, so that if they're already in the top 6, then Blackburn is an opportunity to get further clear if they can. But I think from Portsmouth's point of view, they're not going to. I don't think John Messina will be losing as much sleep over this, considering that, again, is away at a year one parachute team with the quality they've got. For me, arguably got the best squad in the league. Certainly, if not the best, then one of the best for sure. So I don't think Portsmouth fans will lose too much sleep over it. I think other games will decide how they're going to fare this season more so than Ipswich away. But really important for Ipswich to get back-to-back home wins.
And Connor Chaplin and Connor Chaplin couldn't play in this game either, which obviously loses a massive attacking threat.
Absolutely.
When he doesn't play. So yeah, it's good to have Marlon Pack for them as well. He's back, which is obviously important for Pompey as well. So yeah, not too disheartening. But yeah, they're probably looking at that Sheffield Wednesday game at home with a little bit more disappointment than this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Good 3 points for the Tractor Boys this past weekend. And let's go to our penultimate game. I have to say, when we talked about this yesterday, I didn't realize Jack Ross had bloody joined Birmingham.
Neither did I.
No, yeah, it was a shock to all of us because that kid was full under the radar when he.
Can I just make one quick phone call before you get here? Hey, Ant, do you fancy coming on, mate? We're just about to talk how Mint Coventry are. Wait, you've gone mysteriously silent. Oh, you've hung up on me. Rude. Yeah, I don't get that there. Obviously, I was not on the phone to Ant, but it would be quite funny if you had to come on and go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And no, he would probably say something like, well, it's pretty easy when you're playing against an overrated Birmingham team down to 10 men. You know, it's not that straight. It's not that hard for Cov, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
sorry, go on. But yeah, no, but sorry. As you know, how I didn't even realize that when I was looking at the highlights. I'm like, since when's he signed for Birmingham?
Yeah,
like, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it last week. I'm pretty sure I mentioned the experience of Robinson and Roberts last week when Birmingham beat Swansea.
Oh, he's experienced, all right. Just experienced of being.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't rate Jack Robinson personally, but that's another story. But,
yeah.
Well, apologies, Annie, if I ignored you then if you mentioned it.
Yeah. Well, Coventry beat Birmingham 3-0 actually, and but Thomas decided to score in the 60th minute, and then an own goal from Asai Samro in the 49th minute, and then what a route one goal actually for Victor Torp to score the winner. Well, the third goal. It was route wrong, but I have to say, Birmingham looked terrible, actually. I'm not going to lie. And especially descended off with Jack Robinson. And no wonder he was going to be a bit of a liability. He's going to be a bit of
I was going to say, do you mean no wonder he got sent off and they got battered?
Yeah.
But to be fair, though, I mean, like, I think, look, I've said, one thing Ant did say, and I'll say it in a lot less colourful language than Ant did in our group chat, but basically, he was making the point that people were overhyping Birmingham slightly. And while I think there are some good players in their team, and I think they, like I said, against Ipswich on the opening day, they played exceptionally well, I think. But I think that they're not going to have the season that some of their fans, I think, thought they would have done, as in top 2, necessarily. But then again, if the parachute teams keep on not performing as well, then you never know, I suppose. But we've got to give credit Coventry. So it's just them and Middlesbrough left unbeaten in the division now, isn't it? So... and obviously Coventry, have come off the back of 2-2 draw at what was it, Oxford? They drew, and I feel, what was the game they had before Leicester? Oh, I'm trying to remember. Was it another draw? No, Norwich. Sorry, draw 1-1 against Norwich, draw 0-0 away at Leicester, and then obviously so they'll think they kind of needed to follow that up with a win. And 5 points from Norwich, Leicester, and Birmingham. Pretty solid return, I would say, especially given Leicester is away from home. And the good thing is that Frank Lampard is just not getting carried away here because he knows that it is a long season. And he was right in what he said in the post-match interview, where it's not always easy to play against 10 men because obviously 10 men behind the ball, everything else, blah, 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 everything that goes with it. So, you know, I mean, if you want to look at an example in the Premier League, Aston Villa away at Sunderland last week, where Sunderland had 10 men for over an hour. And granted, Villa are playing poorly, but they obviously didn't come away with the win. And they went 1-0 up in the game as well. So it's not always the straightforward thing. So for Coventry to dispatch Birmingham relatively easily, I think says is quite a bit about them. And we talked about the quality. I mean, like I said, I like Coventry, a lot of Coventry squad for this level. Like, obviously they're so Ben Sheep, but Mac Grimes, Jack Radoni, Sakamoto, Thomas Asante, Mason Clark, Haji Wright,
Ellis Sims.
Ellis Sims, yeah. I mean, I know he's not at the best of times, but Victor, yeah, exactly. And he's just going, I'm really okay, I promise. Rushworth obviously being an upgrade in goal for them as well on loan from Brighton's another one. So, yeah, I think you've got to look at Coventry and say that I think I've been really impressed with them so far this season. And the big thing for them is they're actually starting well for a change, rather than having to play catch up later on in the season. Because if they keep themselves in the top 6 picture by Christmas, anything's possible for them.
Up the Sky Blues.
That's where Ant's going to join and just go, Annie, I thought we were friends.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got to support my local.
I mean, just to point out, so Anne says, Anne's going to say like, oh, well, I really hate Forest. Like, not the way you're going about Coventry. I'm not convinced.
No.
I think it's Coventry you hate more than Forest.
No, but...
Why don't you imagine Anne's mentions when he goes like, out of 10 times, Leicester, Coventry, Forest, Leicester, Coventry.
Does he mention Leicester?
Not even comparison to Coventry or at all.
What I was going to say is Cov is scoring for fun. They are scoring bundles, and they were unlucky against Norwich. They were good value for a point at Leicester.
Yeah.
They look good. And the door might be wide open this season. Look, Southampton are struggling. Sheffield United I don't know if they're going to make a top 2 challenge now with how they started. Ipswich might well come good. Leicester, is there still going to be a points deduction there? God knows what's happening. So the door might be open for Cov, and Borough are starting well, but Coventry, the power they have in their squad, the momentum from last season, the manager I think is quite good, and generally, I think the style of football they play, where they create loads of chances, they score loads of goals. I think Coventry are going to be a serious threat for top 2 now. I think at this point,
at this point, yeah.
Just to point out as well, they've scored the most goals in the division. They've scored 18 goals. And for context, they've scored. Oh, jeez, I didn't realise it was this much. They've scored double the amount of goals Leicester have, which I've just literally been astonished by. There you go, Ant. Hi. Then they've scored 7 goals more than Ipswich, 10 goals more than Southampton, and obviously Sheffield United. They've scored 16 goals more than Sheffield United have.
Yeah.
So. Exactly. Annie's face says it all. That is absolutely staggering. I didn't even realise it was that. It's weird. I know obviously 12 of them came across like QPR and Derby, but look, they've got abundance of attacking quality. And what's good for them as well is that they've obviously kept 2 clean sheets off the spin. So it's more like balancing it with defence, but being solid defensively. They've got the best goal difference in the league as well, plus 11. So so I'm thinking, I'm looking forward to when Coventry hosts Leicester. That's going to be such a game, especially to see what Ant's going to be like. He's like straight into these. How can I put it in a polite word? No, I can't. It's Ant. But never mind.
It's Ant.
It's Ant. I can't say it while being family friendly on camera. But yeah, no. I think Annie's right though. I think I originally thought when some Cov fans were going on about top 2, I thought that's a bit much. But when you look at it, Ipswich aren't performing the best. Southampton are really underperforming. Leicester are kind of plodding along at the moment. And Sheffield United obviously will probably improve, but have started really poorly. Why not? Yeah. I actually will go as far as to say, is there a better non-parachute payment team than Coventry?
Well,
Middlesbrough so far, but I think Coventry are better than them going forward.
In the longer term, yeah, I think Coventry.
Yeah, longer term, yeah. Shorter term,
yeah.
With how
Middlesbrough deserve to be in that conversation, obviously, of course, because of the way they've started. But like, okay, I'll rephrase. Is there many non-parachute payment teams better than Middlesbrough and Coventry right now?
No, I don't think so. Not on the evidence we have now. No.
I'm not saying the likes of Stoke or Bristol City or Preston are miles behind them, obviously. But I mean, like, Middlesbrough and Coventry have got really good quality for their teams. So, like,
Michael, yeah, we are. We're miles behind.
Let me see how many points are you behind. Let's see. Bristol City, 12 points, 1 point behind Coventry. So,
yeah, in terms of general long-term trend, we will be. Yeah,
Annie, I keep trying to build you up, and you keep tearing it down, mate. Like, but yeah, no, okay. But I do get you. Look, I think I'm really liking a lot of what I'm seeing of Coventry at the minute, and even then, look, what I was impressed by was the way at Leicester they showed that they're not just about try and go and outscore the opposition. They can be solid and roughen it up a bit when they need to. So, yeah, I'm really impressed with Frank Lampard and what he's doing so far this season. And remember, they ended last season pretty well. Like, even in the playoffs against Sunderland, like they weren't bad in both games. So, oh, look who it is!
Look who it is! Yeah,
and guess who we are talking about right now, Sunshine. Thoughts and prayers with that. So, actually, here's one. I'm going to ask Ant this because I'm repeating this. So,
Ballad.
Of course, he's going to do that and record Ballad. And how do you feel about the fact Coventry have scored double the amount of goals Leicester have this season so far? The caveat, of course, is 12 of them did come across 2 games. We have to be fair. But, yeah. Long story short, from Coventry, I'm really like. It seems like I remember when Robbins was sacked, and I said this last season. There was a lot of pressure on Doug King from that decision because of how beloved Mark Robbins was, and he's managed to replace him, an upgrade on him. I'd say. I think like Lampard's really come in, and there was obviously what I thought was some unfair question marks about Lampard at Championship level, especially, but he's doing a good job. He's doing a bloody good job at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Annie, your perspective, especially with Birmingham, are they really not going to make it? Everyone's talked about them. Well, before.
Oh, for God's sake!
Listen, I had to put it up, right? It was eventually I couldn't hold it back. So
let's not read it out, shall we?
Hey, listen. The show is a rated R, okay?
By the way, let's point out that we were talking about Leicester much earlier, and Ant chose to go in the chat when we were talking about Coventry. Just saying.
First of all, I will say, what a win for my local team at the Sky Blue.
Ant is going to be triggered.
He is going to be, yeah.
Triggered.
No, Blues. Who was I saying? I was saying about Watford earlier, wasn't I? About having a lot of the ball, territory, possession. Where's the big chance? Where's the fucking Birmingham? Where's the shot on target? Where's the shot on? It's because it's.
Well, there is shots on target. It's just against them.
Yeah, right.
Especially when Jack Robinson's playing.
I think no shots on target again, if I'm not mistaken, in this one. Which
huge derogatory comment about Birmingham from Ant.
I thought they'd got better at shooting after the game against Swansea, where they were a little bit. I don't think 1-0 flattered them. I think it probably flatters. Anyway.
What's he said now? Nice of Birmingham fans to make the CBS more like home with piss on the floor, and ripping up the sinks.
On time, yeah.
There's the Ant. We need to do this every week when we do like an Ant bingo card and just say like slags off Coventry, says Birmingham overrated, says Leicester are the biggest club in the league, says that they are absolutely massive, says he absolutely hates Forest more than Coventry when in fact he talks more about Coventry than Forest. I love Ant, but he's pricelessly funny.
As I was saying, Birmingham just need to create more chances with the ball and the possession they have, because at the moment it's a lot of
possession for the sake of having possession.
They have all the ingredients. It needs to come together. It needs to get. Yeah, you need to cook it, because it's not just pointless having the ingredients. Isn't it?
What an analogy!
I know why that is a perfect
cooking analogy.
Cooking. How do they cook it?
How do they cook it? Have shots on target. It's not that hard. Get the ball into.
Well, it's not hard. It'll take a rocket scientist to figure it out. Easy, but
just go. How do they fix it? Have more shots on target. But yeah, being serious, you're not wrong. Like,
I'm going to score if you don't have shots.
I don't know. Well, I suppose if you want to be technical, you could say that Nat Phillips in goal for Charlton, the Sunderland playoff final a few years ago, decides to let the ball spill into his own net.
I guess,
and even then we still lose.
Yeah. So always someone to throw a counter.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you very much. What was I going to say? Yeah, just have shots on target, Birmingham.
And it's like, what? At the moment, Davis is cooking up food poisoning. Kind of bloke to have the chicken medium rare. Oh my god!
You know what? It kind of reminds me of someone from her uni days and combination. She cooked some chicken escalops. She didn't cook them properly, and it was fucking rare, like really rare. And the next day, I could hear the violet of throwing up. Oh my god! Yeah, that's how I could put a perfect analogy to that. So yeah,
all at Birmingham University. Yeah, but yeah, no. I mean, obviously, look, they need to get. I would look. Don't get me wrong, Birmingham do have some good players and need to get more out of them. But I think, to be fair to them, like, look, take out my jokes about Jack Robinson aside. The sending off obviously wouldn't have helped them, and going away at the top scorers in the league and going away to Coventry is pretty tricky. So, like, yeah, it's a one where they'll take a bit of lessons from. But genuinely mean this: if Jack Robinson is genuinely suspended for however many games, well, the next game, I wouldn't be surprised if it actually looked better.
I think it's only one game. So,
oh, absolutely right. What's answer? Damari Gray is effing shit. I wonder why you said
we can swear. Don't worry.
Fine, Damari Gray is fucking shit. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, they'll have to play Aaron Cashin, won't they? Who I'd say is a bit of an upgrade. I don't know about you. I'd say he's a.
He's not Jack Robinson, so he is.
Yeah, I think he's a very good footballer, Aaron Cashin. So, yeah, I don't know. Might actually be a decent thing if Cashin gets more game time, gets settled, because he hasn't really had much game time yet for Blues. So, might be a sort of net positive in the future.
Yeah.
Can't wait to boo Cody and Ward on Tuesday. This time they won't be Leicester players. Oh, joy.
Oh, right.
Well, right. Coming down to our last game. We're going to go to the last game and go to the game at Deepdale. Annie, both teams could have won, actually. Either team could have won the game, but
decent chances for both teams, yeah.
Yeah. But you happy with the point after the 0-0 draw yesterday?
I've taken the point beforehand, yeah. I think but Deepdale's been hard for teams to go this season. Ipswich, Leicester, both lost. Bar obviously needed a late equaliser there to get something. It's been a difficult place, and we went there and we were miles a better team. We were really good, actually. I thought performance levels was fantastic. We showed real sort of character to sort of respond to that tragic result against Oxford. And yeah, we were much better defensively. And again, it's those two Anis Mehmeti chances where one of them he's put clean through on goal and he completely misses the goal altogether, and he actually goes the right way in terms of where he has to put it in the net, but misses the goal. And then the last minute save from Daniel Iverson is, oh my god,
he's a very good keeper, isn't he?
Yeah, and I don't know if it showed in the EFL highlights, but
yeah,
but that was
in Danny Ward.
But
oh, sure he did.
But that was in the 95th minute as well, which makes it even sort of ridiculous in terms of pressure. Iverson's under at that moment. What a save! But Anis Mehmeti should bury at least one of those chances, and we should probably come away with a win. Not to say that Preston didn't have chances of their own. Osmajic, there's a weird situation where Dobbin plays it into Osmajic. Osmajic is completely sort of in on goal, no one around him, and he takes the most heavy touch that gets it straight to Vitek, goalkeeper. I'd say we probably deserve to win on the balance of play, and if that Mehmeti chance goes in, I don't think you can say it's a flattering result for us, and we probably, on the balance of chances created, probably deserve to win. So disappointing and frustrating to a degree because we didn't win that, but I'd have taken a point beforehand. So yeah, a bit of mixed feelings. If we hadn't created those two big chances, I would have probably said, yeah, fair result, no problem to come away with a point away from home. Not bad result in the championship, and keep a clean sheet as well. But it felt like an opportunity missed.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, absolutely indeed. Yeah. But overall, Michael, like I said, both teams happy with the point. And is that going to affect them during the run for the playoffs this season for the playoff chasers?
No, not really. I think they're both going to be. I think it's a solid. I think obviously given the chance, I did see the chances that Bristol City had with Gilt Edge. Obviously, the Gilt Edge one, and he's on about there. So I think it's from the Metty. So I think it's obviously Bristol City. When you miss big chances like that, especially right at the end of the game, you're going to feel a bit like really frustrated and you just go through the what if scenario in your head, going, if just one of them just gone in right at the very end, then there'll be the momentum from a 90th minute winner. But look, Daniel Everson, we know he's a good keeper, and I think it's and very colourfully put, Brendan Rodgers chose Danny Ward over him. Stupid twat of a bloke. There you go. So that's another and bingo card. He hates Brendan Rodgers. Yeah. So shove that fairy tale up there. I suspect that he's talking about Wrexham there. But anyway, yeah. And hello, Doug, by the way. Nice to see you. I hope you're doing all right.
Yes.
But yes, so I think from Preston's point of view, they obviously took points off. Well, actually, I think everybody they played at home is either up there or is expected to be up there. So they beat Preston beat Preston. That makes no sense, Michael. I'll try again. They beat Ipswich. They beat Leicester. Obviously, we're minutes away from beating Middlesbrough, but got a point that I think most Preston fans would have certainly took before the game. Oh, time for another beer. Of course it is, mate. Sorry, guys. Anne's just decided to come up and just put random phrases in the group chat in the comments section. But yes, and then also got a point against what has been a solid Bristol City team so far this season that are in the playoff picture and have still obviously got 13 points from their opening 7 games. I want to say. I think it's 7. So yeah, look. I think Wrexham. Wrexham. See, Anne's got that in my head now.
Yeah, I know he has.
Yeah, Preston have obviously made a really good, solid start at home. And I've got to credit them actually, because Preston were a team that I thought were going to struggle and be right down the bottom. But fair play at Heckenbottom, he's doing pretty well so far. And look, so both teams take the point, move on to the next one. Because obviously now, because it's our first midweek of the season coming up now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And I will say for Annie, announced Bristol City 1, Ipswich Town 0.
Probably. Yeah.
Must be nice for us to see a big club player. At least he mentioned Forrest. He's consistent.
Yeah, give him that. Yeah.
And you're welcome. There you go. That's all I'll say on that.
Absolutely. Actually, before we finish the show, like I said, I know Stefan has asked us one question. At this moment, who is your surprise playoff pick wild card to get into the playoffs? He's Wrexham and Blackburn.
Would it be fair if I said Sheffield United at this point, given how they've started? No, I'm genuinely not taking the mickey. I actually would fancy them to surge up to get into the playoffs, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
At the start of the season, obviously, if you'd said at the start of the season, Sheffield United a wild shout to finish in the playoffs, that would have been regarded as ridiculous. But like, given how they've started, that's who I would probably go with. But I'm just trying to look at the table now.
I wouldn't put Blackburn be 20th, Stefan. Something's not impossible, but especially their form.
I say Millwall possibly. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, look,
I would say Millwall.
But it's really because I rate Alex Neil very highly at Championship level, despite my personal feelings on him. But I think he's a very good manager at this level.
Norwich?
Depends. Can they get any points at home?
That'll be helpful.
Well, actually, hang on. Just realised, and I'm going to depress Annie even more talking about this. I believe after they play West Brom in midweek Norwich, their next home game is the Liam Manning Direct Derby. Norwich versus... Exactly. I was going to say Norwich beat Bristol City at Carrow Road. Well, hey, Norwich can't...
Can't wait to go into hiding.
I've just realised Annie's going to hate me for this. Imagine if I say Norwich lose again in midweek against West Brom, and then Liam Manning's first point at Carrow Road is against Bristol City.
Why would you put that thought in my head, Michael?
You would have had that in your head regardless if Norwich lost this week.
I would have had every permutation going into that game.
Right, so do you want Norwich to get a draw at least against West Brom, so at least you can ban that narrative?
Honestly, I'm not particularly bothered. I'm just trying to go in there and win. To be honest, that'll be nice. Whatever happens, I'm not really thinking about drawing.
Right now, you're not.
Right now, yeah. Once we get to 17th of October, I'll be like, oh god.
Fair enough, but no, Norwich should be if they actually get some points on Harrow Road. My shout would probably be Sheffield United or Millwall, personally.
That's fair. Yeah.
That's fair indeed. Actually,
not us.
You're already in there, so you're all right.
So,
actually, use will like this. To be fair, this is quite amusing. Do you remember what was it? 11? Was it 11 years ago? Yeah, it was 11 years ago. Do you remember when Sunderland was with Gus Poyet in 2014? We were rock bottom of the Prem, and we're like 7 points adrift with 6 games left, and it was saying that we need a miracle to stay up. Anyway, and then we ended up had that great escape at the end. It was the same year we got the League Cup final against Man City. Anyway, so there's some online Siri thing or whatever it was said, which team do you support? And the AI voice response was, I always like to support the underdog. So I guess that makes me a fan of Sunderland at the moment because we were rock bottom. So I'm thinking to myself, Bristol City and underdogs are finishing the playoffs. Imagine going, no, they're not. They're currently 4th in the championship or something along those lines. So no, not quite. Well, Annie, do you consider yourselves then in that category then?
What, as an underdog or as a?
I meant, what was the one? What was the comment?
A surprise sort of team in the playoffs, you mean?
Surprise pick wildcard, yeah. Do you consider yourselves that way then?
No, not at the moment. No, I know we're 4th.
Fair enough.
I know 4th or 5th or whatever it is.
4th, 1 point off second.
Yeah. But like it's been a good start. That's all it is. It's been a good start. I've been in full storms before. I don't want to.
Same, to be fair.
Really do it again. And I know we got into the playoffs last season, which was great. But yeah, I don't know. I think over time the parachute teams should be better than us, and maybe even a couple of non-parachute teams such as Middlesbrough, Coventry. Middlesbrough have had such a good start. Coventry should be better than us, really. Maybe even Norwich. I don't know. I'm still unconvinced. I think we're a good team, but whether or not we get into the top 6, I'm not sure. Not sure yet.
The league's not consistent, which I think is a good thing for you.
Yeah.
It happened last year as well, Michael. Everyone said
that is very true. It did.
Remember, all the conversation was Bristol City. They got into playoffs, but 68 points, absolutely terrible, stuff like that. So it doesn't particularly matter if you get in there because you've got as good a chance. Well, maybe you'd like to think you have as good a chance as anyone in the playoffs.
That's the underdogs with a shoestring budget and a dickhead director of football. Oh,
okay.
Well,
you can tell Ant's well, truly turned up for the party.
Yeah,
Wade's only £10 million more than the second place team that is not good enough of an advantage. Only £10 million more than. Is that you admitting Coventry second place team then? I've just thought something that would be really funny, but Ant would probably hate this. Imagine if it was like Coventry versus Leicester for second place. Say Middlesbrough win the league, right? For just an example, and say Coventry v Leicester for second place, and Coventry pip Leicester to second on like the last day or something.
Yeah,
like an overtake as well, not just.
That would be so
overtake.
funny.
No, he'll be screaming like no, and then the world just blow if he screams, the world just blow up. Yeah,
it's nice that he just go like Ant just starts to swear and he goes and then do the bleep thing where it goes like please return in 10 minutes. This video is on standby or something. Or it could be that, or Coventry face Leicester in the playoffs in the semis. Now that would be carnage.
That would be really tasty. That
very
watch.
Absolutely, gentlemen. Thank you very much as always, as usual. Let's get on to the tables at the moment. Middlesbrough still stay 4 points ahead of Coventry and Stoke due to them being run. The biggest movers were Charlton. They moved from 12th up to 7th place, so which means Preston still and Bristol City alongside in the playoffs alongside Stoke and Leicester. At the bottom of the table, despite Sheffield United getting their first win of the season, they're still 2 points behind. Oxford moved down into the bottom 3 with Derby getting a viable point yesterday at Wrexham as well. So for the fixtures coming up this week on the 30th of September, we have got some huge games at the moment as well. So like I said, Bristol City against Ipswich is a big game, for the start of the midweek. Leicester at home to Wrexham, Stoke go away.
Cody Derby.
Yep, Conor Cody Derby. Yep, Middlesbrough at home to Stoke. Sheffield United get Southampton as well. whilst let's see, Derby got at home to Charlton, who Charlton have a good start as well too. So yeah, got some huge games. And Sheffield Wednesday go away to Birmingham City, Blackburn home against Swansea, and Hull against Preston North End. So yeah, interesting fixtures. The first midweek of the fixtures as well. Let's see the last few messages before the comments before we go as well.
Anne's on fire tonight. Oh no! Anyway, what a trophy for Coventry that would be 1987 and never again.
Yeah, well, guess who's joined us? Said good evening to Chris. Chris, how you doing from LITD TV as well?
Oh god, Chris is even saying there.
Yeah,
you're shit and still fifth. This league is wank.
Evening, Chris.
Evening.
Boo.
What on earth?
Yeah, and here's go.
No,
yeah. Ant says he's practicing for Tuesday.
I think if Ant starts booing Ward and Cody, I might hear it from here.
No, probably. I'll probably hear from all the way up in the northeast.
Yeah,
Connor Cody Derby, Danny Ward Derby. Oh, imagine this seems Leicester nil, Wrexham 1. Donny Ward kicks the ball. Connor Cody sprints up front and scores an absolute wonder bastard in the top corner.
It's also the Matty James derby.
Yes, it is as well. Actually, I forgot.
And he's quite well liked at Leicester, isn't he?
Imagine Ant Vlogin just goes, this is fucking tedious. This honestly, Connor Cody's playing like Virgil van Dijk against us. Wrexham, shove your fairy tale up your arse.
Graham Wall got injured. If he plays, we get 5.
If they are not booed every touch, I'll be disappointed.
What about Matty James then?
He loves Matty James, actually.
There you go. There's the one that he likes.
That's what I thought.
Oh my god.
I wonder if he hates Danny Ward and Connor Cody more than he does Coventry City Football Club.
Yeah. Oh god.
Do you think it's time to end this?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. What I'm going to wait to give you another second. I bet he put something else. Yeah, no.
No, that's Doug.
Oh,
Doug.
The
fakest tough guy in football goes on to sack us spuds. Excuse me, Doug. You had them. Excuse me, they beat Saudi Arabia in the last minute. Don't you dare have any slander towards that man.
Listen, Doug, we'll talk about that tomorrow evening in the 20 podcast tomorrow evening. Even though West Ham are playing at Everton, we're from Monday now going forward. We're just going to do our 20 Premier League podcast on Mondays going forward. So yeah,
all I'll say for now is where are we? Hang on,
third. You're third. You're fifth.
Fifth now. But look all the way down in where is it? 16th, 15th. Sorry.
Yeah, well,
can I just do the drink? Even though
you can record your video because I didn't put your video this past week, Michael, because we didn't bother doing a podcast. I was hungover after Sunday last Sunday night. Doug was busy.
By the way, just to clarify, I know we will not finish above Newcastle, but I'm just milking it while I can.
Take it as each opportunity as the day goes by. So
I have watched them finish Champions League 2 seasons out of 3, win the Carabao Cup while we were stuck in League One. So, yeah, I'm going to enjoy this.
Yeah. Gentlemen, thank you very much as always. I am back here tomorrow night on both my channel and also Doug's channel, the Doug Out Football channel, with the 20 podcast review. We'll review all the weekend's games as well. And I'll be back here at the same time here next Sunday with these two. Probably go from 8:30 now, actually. It felt more comfortable, actually. So, yeah, we're back at 8:30
we'll
next
see if
week.
Liam Manning's still Norwich City head coach by then.
Yeah, exactly. Gives us a bit of time with that one. And also,
that's smirk, Annie Harris.
Yeah. And also, I'm back here next Saturday to do the Saturday show just before the international break as well. Before I go, me and Doug and Reese are going to go watch the other Edinburgh derby between the Spartans and Edinburgh City in Scottish League 2 next Saturday after 3:00. So I've got a bit of a huge football weekend to do. But please hit the subscribe button on the channel and also hit on Michael's and Nanny's channel as well too, which is in the community page as well to have a look as well, so you can follow them up to their content. We'll get all the reviews and stuff in the next couple of days, and like I said, I will do some stuff. Thank you to Stefan who joining us in the group chats, and also to Ant, to Doug, to Paul and also to Chris as well. So thank you very much for this weekend. We'll see you guys at the same time next week here at 8:30 here on the Total Leaving Home Football Podcast. Have a good weekend and take care for now.